Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Jets franchise. Today we've got the bye week, so before we go into week 11 and take on the 1-8 Bengals led by Joe Burrow, we've got to go over what happened in weeks number 6 through week 9. So in week 6 we took on the Chicago Bears led by Felipe Franks and we got a big 40-18 win against them. Trey Lance with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, exactly what we wanted to see. Trey Lance even had a great game on the run. Javonte Williams was quite quiet, however, and Calvin Ridley did not have 100 yards for the first time since week number 1. However, one thing of note is Rondale Moore did get 2 touchdowns in this game, and he had a breakout scenario, so now Rondale Moore will have star development, and he'll probably end up getting his snaps back over John Hightower, so always cool to see. And then Kayvon Thibodeau also had 2 sacks, which is nice. And then in week number 7, sadly we ended up losing to the Green Bay Packers. We lost 20-9. However, again, Trey Lance, no interceptions. Now, as for Javonte Williams, it was a terrible game. 8 carries, 12 yards, 1 point yards per carry. Really not good, not what you want to see, especially from the Rookie of the Year, a guy who I thought was going to be the engine of our offense. However, it's very clear that this offense has shifted to more being about putting the ball in Trey Lance's hands and letting him work, which is nice to see regardless, especially because Javonte Williams is only on a rookie contract, so it's not the biggest concern. And then moving on to week number 8 against the Detroit Lions. We ended up getting the big win over Jared Goff's Lions, 27-17. They are the worst team in the league right now, so it's good that we got the win. Also, something to mention about the Packers is the Packers are currently rated as the best team in the league, so losing to them isn't all that bad in retrospect. But regardless, still always nice to get the win. Trey Lance, again, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's 3 games in a row with no picks. Actually 4 if you count the Bills game. And then Javonte Williams did end up having a bounce back week, 18 for 77 with 4.3 yards per carries, always nice to see. And then Calvin Ridley having 2 touchdowns was awesome, even though he didn't have 100 yards. Still, he's scoring the football, which is exactly what you want. And then in the final game, week 9 against the Buffalo Bills, we end up getting a big 23-17 win. This game was huge, as now we're actually going to be in the driver's seat of the division. Trey Lance, a safe game. He didn't really need to do much. Javonte Williams wasn't good, wasn't bad, just 12 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown. And then Calvin Ridley back again with an 100-yard game. Now, George Pickney for the Bills did have a huge game against us, but I think that says more about Jason Verrett and Demidor Lenoir than it does our rookie Ahmad Gardner. So all in all, not half bad. We're currently 6-3 coming out of our bye week, which is pretty good, puts us right in the playoff race. And some notes. So first of all, on the defensive side, we only have 1 interception as a team, which isn't great. And then Kayvon Thibodeau has 9.5 sacks, which actually is tied for 3rd most in the NFL. So awesome to see the production from our rookie. However, as a defense, I really want to see more turnovers. And then on the offensive side of the football, Trey Lance is currently 2nd in the NFL in passing yards this season. And then Calvin Ridley leads the league in receiving yards, as he's already broken that 1,000-yard threshold. So you love to see it. This team is performing at a really high level. However, down the stretch for the rest of the year, it does not get very easy for us, as we're going to play next week. We take on the Bengals with Joe Burrow. They're probably the 2nd worst team in the league behind the Lions. And then we end up playing Gardner Minshew and the Patriots again. Now, the Patriots started this season 0-4. However, they've bounced back and they're now 4-5. Now, they did make 2 big trades. First was they went back with the Jaguars and traded for a new middle linebacker in Shaquille Quarterman, and then they made a blockbuster trade shipping away Stephon Gilmore to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals currently like 1-7, really struggling. They were trying to get kind of a boost on their defense, but it seems that it hasn't worked out. But the Patriots did get a high-level 2nd-round pick for Stephon Gilmore. The Patriots have a great defensive back core. They have J.C. Jackson and J.C. Horn and a ton of great safeties, so they didn't really need Stephon Gilmore anymore. But the Patriots are bouncing back with Gardner Minshew, so it'll be interesting to see if we can, try to beat them again. And then we end up playing the Ravens, Chiefs, Colts, Dolphins, and Browns, and those are all pretty good teams. I'd say the Dolphins are probably the worst team out of that bunch, and even then, we lost to the Dolphins earlier this year, so I'm little worried about how the team is going to go down the stretch. I don't know which games I'm going to end up playing specifically here, but I'm definitely excited to see if we can answer the call and fight and win, 4 to 5 games and really squeeze into the playoffs. But yeah, it's going to be a worrying end to the season here. But then again, if we really want to take the next step and try to become more of a Super Bowl contender, these are the games that we have to win. We can't just kind of profit off of an easy schedule here. So overall, I'm really excited to see how the season goes. I'm loving the fact that Trey Lance isn't really turning the ball over. However, I really want our defense to start getting a couple more interceptions here and there. And then I briefly wanted to talk about contract extensions. Now, this wasn't something I planned on talking about, but it just kind of came to mind and I thought it'd be worth mentioning. So we don't have many players to extend this offseason. It's kind of the calm before the storm. Next year's really where we're going to have a lot more players to think about. But we do have $30 million in cap space, and Blake Cashman is up for contract. Now, Blake Cashman ended up getting favorable development from the progression tool, so he's now like an 80 overall with star development. So he's asking for about $45 million over like 5 years, I believe. And I don't mind giving that much money to him. However, the big issue is that CJ Mosley has 3 more years left on his contract, and he's already 30 years old. So I'm going to wait until the offseason before we extend Cashman to see if maybe we can get out from the CJ Mosley deal and kind of save some money and just invest it into Cashman, kind of invest in the young guy. But that's definitely a predicament that I'm finding myself in just because CJ Mosley's already 30. Granted, he's been pretty healthy for us. He still has some injury concerns in his past. And then Jason Verrett is also up for contract. I'm not going to extend him throughout the year just because Jason Verrett hasn't been really great for us, and I would much rather just get an upgrade there rather than extend him. So he's at least going to hit the market. That's not to say he's never going to be back on the team. It's just that we're going to let him test free agency, see what our options are, and at worst, we'll just bring him back. But other than that, that's it for this edition of the bye week. There really weren't many changes or anything that we needed to go over. We're just kind of talking about how good of a team we really are. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to tune into the next episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.